Hello, everyone. What's up? This is Andrew Rochford, host of the Rochford Files, coming to you with a live recorded segment. And if you haven't done so yet, please go check out the interview from last night that I had with James Fauntleroy of Revolutionary Blackout Network and of his own channel, JB Font, as that was a pretty good interview. One of my one of the best ones yet for a guest appearance in this short time on the Rochford Files. But for today's clip, oh, it's time to get into Enes Kanter. There's a new development there with him, as you've seen recently over these past few months. He's made that rhetorical shift to a neocon when in the past he used to seem like he could be like a independent left type, but now there's a new development since after the NBA trade deadline last week, the Houston Rockets decided not to keep him on their roster. So we're about to go into a quick little article uh, showing what he decided to do. And we'll go in full. NBA center Enes Kanter has bailed on this month's Conservative Political Action Conference just days after accepting an invitation to speak, citing the need to concentrate on his professional basketball career. "I need to figure out this NBA stuff first," he told Washington Post reporter Dave Weigel on Tuesday. "I won't be going to CPAC now," shortly after his CPAC appearance was announced. The Boston Celtics traded him to the Houston Rockets in a deadline day deal, only for the Rockets to waive the struggling 29-year-old big man to open up a roster spot. This is standard practice in multiplayer NBA trades involving expiring contracts. Conservatives, however, smell a league-wide conspiracy afoot, claiming freedom's increasing right-wing media attention, criticism of China, is CPAC participation were to blame for his release. Freedom himself helped stoke that speculation by retweeting a number of prominent conservatives who suggested he'd been canceled by the league. Oh man, that's just too funny, man. Because if anyone has watched Enes Kanter play basketball, you would know that he's been a pretty bad big man for a while. I mean, his whole career, he's always been this guy who was only useful to your team if he was capable of just working the glass on both ends of the floor. And anyone who's been watching the NBA throughout their lifetime, like I have, you would know the game has changed in a big way. And you know what the biggest change in the NBA is? It's they're moving on from the bigs like Enes Kanter, Jahlil Okafor, Al Jefferson, even guys who are a bit more athletic like Kenneth Reed, because when your game is only predicated on your ability to rebound and not be able to have any success on eh, defending any type of play that the opposing offense throws at you, then you don't deserve to be in the NBA. I mean, did anyone pay close attention to that last playoff series, the Nuggets and Blazers? I mean, the focus of that was the fact that backcourt of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, they lost to a backcourt of Facu Campazzo and Austin Rivers for 2/3 of that series before Monte Morris started to play better in those last couple games. But fortunately for Ennis, most people did not pay attention to the fact that Daddy Millsap and Jermichael Green outplayed him so badly that he lost his backup center minutes by the end of that series. Oh, and this was inevitable. He was lucky to be given a second chance by Brad Stevens, but the Celtics have had no need for the man, especially since they decided to bring back Al Horford as well. Hell, they're even bringing Daniel Tice back again. In fact, that was a trade that sent him to Houston. But what's hilarious is how the conservative pundits are now trying to start this ridiculous conspiracy when the fact of the matter is he's one of the worst all-time defensive bigs in the history of basketball. Just look up any freaking advanced stat, and Kanter will be among the very worst of all time. That's why he isn't in this NBA anymore, man. And what was even more ironic about how, you know, all those conservative pundits who tried to hop on board with Kyrie Irving and his decision to not take the jab is the fact that these people, the liberals, weren't even uh, giving Ennis any shit for all the conservative pundits trying supporting him. I mean, once the name change happened, he's been a state puppet for China. He's and pretty much any type of fascist puppet that the United States wants to install in the global south. He's doing that work for rhetorical work for them as well. Long gone are the days where he would show up at a Black Lives Matter protest because that was the old Enes Kanter. And now this guy is going to have to figure out somewhere to play basketball overseas because it's not going to happen here anymore. And even in spite of the fact that he's deciding to skip this CPAC circle jerk, he did visit with some GOPers in the Senate for a lunch. And if there's one thing to be certain of, this guy is going to continue to his rise as a prominent right wing political figure. But if you act like there wouldn't, if he could still be a contributor on an NBA team, you don't think there's a couple owners out there who wouldn't try to capitalize on that right wing base? Because even though the NFL stood in solidarity to the bad type, by the way, to blackball Colin Kaepernick, a guy who actually had a valid argument for still being a from a football standpoint. Ennis doesn't have that. Then you've also got a lot of the owners who get very two-faced over this whole thing where they can be one type of owner with their NBA team, then another type when it comes to owning an NFL team. That's you, Stan Kroenke, uh, Benson family, among a couple of the more obvious standouts. But Come on, if the Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta, he's one of the most conservative owners in the NBA. And if he felt like he had to step in and make sure the team didn't release them for some marketing ploy, I think he would. You don't think he would have stopped his GM from Raphael Stone from releasing him if he wanted to uh, appeal to a conservative base and put a few more asses in the seats in Houston? Oh no, there's still owners that would do that. The problem is Enes's usefulness as an NBA player, and regardless of what the capacity is expired. And that's just all that there is to say about that.